All right, everyone. Special episode of something or another. It's Lance Ash here with my wife Bonnie,
Hello.
and I think we might start doing the show again somehow. I don't know how regularly.
Nothing but worry? Is that what we called it?
Yeah, that's what our show's called. So, what's been going on today?
I have no idea. I just feel like I've just been run ragged.
Did you take a nap this morning?
Very little, unfortunately.
Really?
Less than 2 hours.
Oh, well.
So I'm still recovering and all this kind of stuff from the heart. And getting used to this new medicine. And I don't sleep well. And now this damn car is driving me nuts. I mean, look at this. All of them are registering 29 except for one that's 30. And only one of them is showing up as low pressure. Just one more thing to worry about. Nothing but worry.
That's right. I don't. I wouldn't worry too much about the tire pressure if it's.
I think that because all the other ones are the same. It's
right.
a bad sensor.
Yeah.
Which is amazing given the car only has 10,000 miles on it. It's less than a year old.
What? How? Reese, I mean.
We bought the cars in April.
Well, both of them in April. Okay.
Well, yours in April and this one in May.
And mine's driven 3 times as much.
You're at 22,000 miles.
Yeah. How many miles were on this when you got it?
Oh, it's brand new, same as yours.
Yeah, but mine had 26 miles on it. How much did this have?
None. It literally arrived that day and I bought it off the truck.
Wow.
We bought during that period when there were car shortages all across America. And then 3 months later, car shortages stopped and this car reduced by $3,000 in price. It was irksome having to buy then, but we were in a pickle and we needed cars immediately, so...
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing that we've slowly worked our way up the financial ladder that we can have a little bit of, buying power.
I was talking to Peter about that today. We went in, we ended up having to put down 20% on each of the cars so that, number one, we wouldn't have any type of extra fees associated with it and our insurance rates wouldn't be higher. If we hadn't had that 20% down, we would have also had a higher interest rate. Now, mind you, we had excellent credit. Now, mind you, now that we've bought 2 cars, and we remain at this point $43,000 in debt because of both cars, because I've been paying them off early. We now have good to very good credit because we had to assume debt. So you get penalized. So if I had to buy a new car today, I would pay a higher rate in relation to whatever the current rates are than the rate that we had paid before. We got the best rates because of our excellent credit. Like a whole percentage point lower than they were offering on the special deals, okay? And you get penalized for being poor. And that's absolutely cruel,
I hope that if the whole move back to Athens happens, that you and I get more time to spend together. Because I miss all this,
Yeah. Last night when we were winding down, I was on the sofa and I said, come in here and talk to me. Just sit down and talk to me. And I miss that, having time just to sit and decompress. Because too many times our schedules are just not lined up. I'm asleep, you're awake, or vice versa. And it would be nice if you could have something remotely resembling a normal schedule so that we could have a normal life, which would be the first time in 26 years coming up in April.
Yeah.
Because you basically started off on a crazy schedule. Except for that 6 months when you were doing the chemo radiation stuff, you've had a horrible schedule.
Was that the reason that I was on day shift?
Yeah.
It was 7 months.
Was that how long it was? You had 6 weeks of chemo.
Not chemo, radiation.
Radiation daily. Yeah, Peter's the one that had to do the chemo. And anyway, yeah, they were trying to get everything in.
Yeah.
It was horrible. And then it comes back in 2017. Christ. You were lucky. You were 6 months in and had job protection. And you also had insurance. And that was 7 months basically after you started the job that happened. And thank God you worked where you did because you were covered FMLA and you had insurance in effect.
Yeah.
But even then, I had to wrangle to get equipment moved from the hospitals to another hospital facility because one hospital was covered and one wasn't by the insurance. And we're fortunate the neurosurgeon had privileges at all the hospitals we needed.
Well,
Do you realize how many things I've had to do to get you treatment?
I remember you took the Reed down to the post office to make a better impression when you were talking to the postmaster.
Yeah. That's right. Baby in tow and toddler in tow, and
oh my God. You were burdened with two little ones at the same time.
you were so sick. And you were just. I remember when you lost your widow's peak. You never did get that back. But now Reed has your widow's peak.
Oh
It's
Lord.
just ever so slight.
Well, let's see. What's been happening? We did a topic or something. We talked about books on that episode that we listened to this morning.
Well, you're changing from German studies to French studies now.
Yeah, I still want to maintain the German somehow.
Yeah.
I think about ordering a novel or something by this woman. I got that issue of Exot in the mail, and there was a funny piece in there by this woman, and then in the back of the magazine is an ad for a book she wrote, and that's what got me thinking about getting the book. I can't think of anything. So what are you reading right now?
I'm not. I'm supposed to be reading the Joan Didion essays, but I've set all that stuff aside. I did a couple pulp books in the last couple of weeks, and that's it. I mean, literally 2 books in the last 3 weeks or so, which is way below average for me. But once I start binging, I'm reading a book every 2 to 3 days easily. But right now, nothing. And I really don't have any desire. I feel like I'm trying to get my life back. Because since June, I've been without energy, without anything. And that's one of the reasons I read so much recently. I burned through a couple of series because I was basically flat with my heart going crazy. But now, hopefully, this medicine's kicking in and doing what it should. So part of me just wants to kind of be up and about and not prone reading books.
Well, when I started studying German 14 years ago, I was trying to read all of Dickens, and I had to set that aside. I felt bad about that. And now, taking up French, I feel like I've got to tighten it down even further. No goofing around. Right now I'm just at the flashcard stage.
It's a shame. I got rid of all of my French literature several years ago. Just, in a basic clean out. And I had all those mini books of all the great things.
Well, if my goal here is just to learn to read enough to read French comics. So we'll see what happens later. There are a lot of French novels I'd like to read, French writers. Years ago I read this book, which is totally out of date now. It's by Henri Père. It's called something like French Novels of Today. It was published in like 1960. And but even that, even the stuff I read about in there, it sounds modern to me. I just want to leave and go to Europe so bad.
Whereas I'm gonna go hide in the woods somewhere.
Look at the stickers on that guy's car. He's got a Kiss Army sticker.
Georgia Outdoors Network.
Georgia Outdoor News.
Oh, is that what it is now?
It's a magazine, yeah.
Is that a Bigfoot?
Bigfoot covered with the American flag.
Oh, good God.
And then there's a bunch of...
What are those hunting license?
Probably.
Fishing
It's
license
probably something like that, yeah. It's like something that's changed slightly every year.
Yeah. I saw a rude bumper sticker while we were out earlier. Get rid of Joe and the Hoe. And then a Marine retired sticker on the same vehicle. And I thought, what an asshole. I mean, anybody who uses that phrase hoe to describe a woman, it's repulsive. That's the default, to call a woman a whore or a bitch?
Yeah.
Unoriginal. Unimaginative.
And she's done nothing to anger anybody.
I know. Except be a woman and black Asian.
And a Democrat. Don't forget that.
Oh yes, don't forget Democrat. Let's not forget Democrat, aka Devil's Handmaids.
Democrat.
Oh, seriously? Have you heard that?
Yeah, many times.
God. I will admit to using Democrat sometime, listening to what they do, but still not going to vote fucking Republican ever. Ever again.
I've changed so much since I was 16, 17.
I know, so have I.
I would imagine, despite your efforts, that that school affected you a lot, politically and, for a time anyway.
Yeah. It also helped solidify who I would become later as an atheist. Because a place like that makes you realize just how extreme they can be. I mean, they thought the Tower of Babel was for separation of the races. What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, it just reinforced what I'd already been taught to believe at home. And then I just got rid of it, Started listening to rock and roll, which had been a big no-no for me personally. That's why it's so easy for me to interpret what's going on today politically in this country, because I see it through that lens. Everything that they were teaching us to believe, everything they were agitating for way back then, is coming true today. It's what they're doing now.
I've got to give it to them. They have been very effective at sticking to this agenda. I mean, they've been trying for 40 plus 50 years to overturn Roe v. Wade, and they did it. They did it by stacking the courts.
What are you blowing the horn for?
Because that guy was cutting across the lane and had stopped. He was straddling both lanes in front of us. He was hesitating. He was doing a U-turn, and He, idiot.
Every night when I'm on my way to work, I get in this lane, and I can usually beat everybody down to the light
I
because
can't count on that.
because everybody's
I try to
turning.
Plan ahead. My planning ahead is getting into a safe zone.
I've never seen that movie, The Dead Zone.
What is it?
Isn't it?
I don't know.
Martin Sheen plays a guy who is a religious nut, and he becomes the president so that he can launch a nuclear war and end the
Nope.
world.
Never seen it. Not too far off about what could happen in this climate.
Yeah, the whole idea is let's make everything as bad as possible. That way the Lord will come back and we can go to heaven. Oh, speaking of which, what was it? It was, I don't know if it was the last day I worked or the day before, but I had to go to the B room to print some labels. And there's this guy from, I guess, the Caribbean, and he was listening to something on his phone. And it sounded like a white guy, a white preacher, but he was he was talking about traditional marriage values as exemplified here in 1 Timothy 2:5.
Blah, blah.
And I'm like, I cannot believe you were sitting here at work. Just
He shouldn't be. That violates the what is it, Hind or Hatch? Hatch Act?
but this is your entertainment. You feel you have to do this now? What is that car? That's a pretty solid looking car.
I think it's a little Toyota. I'm not sure.
It is a Toyota, but I don't know what kind of. I have slipped on my neck wrong.
What?
I slipped on my neck wrong.
I've been doing that lately too.
I can't turn my
I
head
think
properly.
It's about the heat we're keeping it at in the house. I know I'm about to dry out.
So you're saying that charcoal soap dries your skin?
Yeah, I think it does. You need to go back to the olive oil blocks.
Okay, well, in addition to that, I'm gonna look around for some olive oil soap that's cheaper.
I've got two blocks right now. You use those up first, okay? I will keep
All right.
an eye out for
Where
olive
did-
oil soap. Bought them online
What made you buy them?
because I've used it once before somewhere, and it's really good for the hands.
Well, the first time I ever heard of olive oil soap was several years ago. I was reading a story about olive oil and its uses, and that's where this guy said, in the Mideast, they don't even think about olive oil as food. They usually use it as a hair tonic.
That's not true. They do use it as a food.
And he said, and also we make a soap out of it. Try it. And the guy who wrote the article said he washed his hands with it. He said my hands felt smoother immediately afterwards.
It's very nice.
It does have a funky smell though. It smells industrial.
It doesn't have all those perfumes and stuff, which is one of the things I like. See, I use Ivory because it's unscented.
It has a distinct smell to me.
Well, the one I use is unscented. And it doesn't have all that extra stuff. This is another thing I hate about this car. The line ended because two lanes are merging, so it thinks that, oh, you're not within the zone, so I'm gonna beep at you.
Well, I'm wondering if I should go out and about while I'm out here.
What?
Man, I guess not.
I asked you about that Fruit Loop. What would you do?
I don't know. I was just thinking about going to the Athens Library, see if they had any free books.
We don't need any more. We have 7,000 books. We're okay.
What is that? That's a cross track. Sort of a cream white.
Factory white. I hate white vehicles. It just says fleet white.
I wonder how many businesses right here, people actually patronize on a regular basis?
I don't know.
Because it looked like that Subaru was about to turn somewhere, and I was thinking, what would he be going to?
There's a whole complex right there of different things. Now, I think it's a liquor store in there, too.
Yeah, that used to be where the Davis Brothers cafeteria was, on that corner. That was the place to go. Fried chicken, catfish, ice cream, about 5 different kinds of pies. Oh, they had everything. Bad macaroni and cheese, I have to say.
I miss Shoney's breakfast bar when it was good. That was always nice.
Do you remember I asked for hot sauce and they brought me that bizarre concoction in a plastic dish?
Yes, it was terrible. It was the last time we ever went there. We were so disappointed in what it had become.
They put us in that booth next to the emergency door, and my hand was, my elbow was pushing up against the door.
Nowadays, I wouldn't hesitate to go, this is unacceptable. Move us to another table. I think when I hit 45 or 50, age-wise, I just said, I'm not going to put up with shit anymore. I don't have to. I can take my money elsewhere. I can take my business elsewhere. I don't have to put up with shit anymore.
Alright, we're about to get to the auto place and pick up my car, so that's it. Bye-bye.